Migrant education recruiters play a vital role in connecting children of migrant workers with services they need to succeed in school and in life. To ensure migrant children have these opportunities, recruiters must learn all they can about the migrant education program and the migrant culture. The powerful 1960 documentary Harvest of Shame dramatically portrayed the impoverished lives of migrant families. In the documentary, legendary journalist Edward R. Murrow eloquently described the harsh living conditions of migrant children whose nurseries and playgrounds were their parents' work sites, farms, orchards, vineyards, and fisheries. Their families faced occupational injuries, prolonged exposure to toxic pesticides and other chemicals, and extreme weather. As soon as migrant children were physically able, they worked alongside their parents to help their families survive. Harvest of Shame also vividly illustrated the scourge of illiteracy that affected many migrant children. Their education was sporadic. 90% of migrant children dropped out of school. These images of deprived and neglected children shocked America's conscience and helped prompt the United States government to provide better education opportunities for migrant children. In 1965, 5 years after Harvest of Shame aired, as part of President Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society Initiative, Congress enacted the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, or ESEA. Title I, Part A of ESEA specifically proclaimed educational opportunity as a right of all children in America. It provided funding for education programs for disadvantaged children, including migrant children. However, Title I, Part A services could not meet the needs of migrant children because of their frequent movement. The following year, in 1966, Congress amended the ESEA, creating the Migrant Education Program, or MEP, with $9 million to begin its operation. In 1968, the United States Department of Education convened a conference of state education representatives to ensure the goals of the Migrant Education Program would be met. The conference signaled the federal government's commitment to the MEP by promoting collaboration at all levels of government. Throughout the past 4 decades, Congress has continued its commitment to the ESEA and education of migrant children, as evidenced by the enactment of the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, or NCLB. NCLB stressed raising standards, holding schools accountable for results, and using proven methods of instruction to ensure every child learns. Title I, Part A of ESEA provides funding to local education agencies, or LEAs, to create programs for disadvantaged children. Migrant children are eligible for these services on the same basis as other eligible children. Title I, Part C of ESEA provides funding to state education agencies, or SEAs, to establish and improve programs that address the specific needs of migrant children. The purpose of the MEP is to help states meet these needs so all migrant students succeed in school and receive high school diplomas. Each SEA is responsible for managing its state MEP. SEAs have flexibility in deciding which services to provide and how best to coordinate these services with schools and other programs. The coordination of MEP services is important not only because children move from district to district, but also from state to state. State MEPs work best when SEAs provide services that have been tested and proven successful in meeting the needs of migrant children. For SEAs, an important first task is locating the children who are eligible for MEP services. Key to the success of this task is the MEP recruiter, who finds migrant children and certifies their eligibility. Recruiters link migrant families with the MEP, local schools, and community resources. To be eligible for the MEP, a child must meet the following 5 eligibility factors. 1. Age. The child is younger than age 22. 2. School completion. The child is neither a high school graduate nor holds a high school equivalency certificate. 3. Moves across school district boundaries. The child has moved across school district lines on his or her own, or with, or to join, agricultural or fishing worker. Special provisions apply in Alaska and Hawaii. 4. Date of move. The child moved within the last 36 months. 5. Purpose of the move. The worker's move was to obtain or seek work that is agricultural or fishing, temporary or seasonal, and an important part of providing a living for the worker and their family. Federal, state, and local agencies establish the rules for identifying and recruiting migrant children. It is important for the recruiter to know the federal rules, as well as state and local procedures for conducting interviews and completing the Certificate of Eligibility, or COE, for the migrant child. Ultimately, SEAs are responsible for the proper and timely identification and recruitment, or ID&R, of eligible migrant children. SEAs carry out this responsibility by developing an ID&R plan and procedures, training recruiters, and monitoring quality of ID&R activities. This brief video has presented highlights of the history of the Migrant Education Program, its purpose, the enabling legislation, eligibility factors, and organizational roles of federal, state, and local education agencies. It also highlights the harsh migrant lifestyle and how migrant children struggle to reach success. Success that begins with a well-trained recruiter.